You're watching Auto Johnny.
Sup internet, I'm Model Johnny, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About. It's the show where I talk about upcoming movies, TV series, the history of the production and how they're made, along with movie news and comics. Then I break them down to make them easy to follow and give you my personal thoughts. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the DCU, specifically all the films and TV shows in Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. And there is a lot of information, so I'm going to be breaking them down into the following categories. What is and isn't canon, confirmed and canceled DC projects, stories and lore of the DCU, and ending out with speculation. And special thanks to the channel Black Lion and his videos. They were a really big help in building out my video. And my IRL friend who helped me build the structure out. Also, this video will contain spoilers. With that said, let's talk about the DCU, Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. To kick things off, let's start with the first category. What is and isn't canon? To clarify, this is not a full reboot, but a soft reboot, since some of the stuff of the DCEU still happened and some stuff didn't, like the following: Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman 1984, both versions of the Justice League movie, Black Adam, Birds of Prey, both Shazam movies, and both Aquaman movies are no longer canon, and films like The Joker, the Matt Reeves Batman movies, aka the Epic Crime Saga, and the upcoming Dynamic Duo are not part of the DCU. But 2016 Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker Season 1, and Blue Beetle are canon to an extent. Like Suicide Squad 2016, outside of the debut of Amanda Waller and Rick Flag Jr. first appearance, is considered extremely loose canon and was mentioned in passing in Peacemaker Season 2.
Don't remind me.
You ship out today. You should really be with June.
You jealous?
You know I'm not. It's not fun of lying.
Yeah, she's a fucking sorceress.
And?
And I'm afraid if I break up with her, she's gonna burrow a hole through the planet.
Then there's The Suicide Squad. Outside of apparently Bloodshot not shooting Superman with a kryptonite bullet is not canon, though I think we find as canon. The movie is as Peacemaker killing Rick Flag Jr. is a major plot point for the Peacemaker series, and it's the motivation of Rick Flag Sr. in Peacemaker Season 2.
Peacemaker. What a joke.
Speaking of Peacemaker, outside of Justice League being retconned to be the Justice Gang, and the actor who plays Myrn is non-canon, and some of the heroes are questionable at the time of this video, the events of Season 1, like Abadale closing Task Force X to the world, and how the backlash led to Task Force X being disbanded, leading to the creation of Task Force M, aka the Creature Commandos, is canon. The Blue Beetle is confirmed to be part of the DCU. As far as I can tell, there's no real contradiction, and I'm 100% confident that it is canon.
Everybody got that? Good!
Now that we've cleared that up, let's talk about confirmed and canceled DC projects. First, there's the project with confirmed release dates like Creature Commandos, which released on December 5th of 2024, with Season 2 on the way. Then there's Superman, which came out July 11th of 2025. Peacemaker Season 2, which came out August 21st of 2025. Then there's Supergirl, which comes out June 16, 2026, and will be based on Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King. Clayface, which is now being released on October 23rd of 2026, and is based on the Feats of Clay two-parter from Batman the Animated Series and Clayface One Bad Day. Man of Tomorrow, which is being released on July 9th of 2027. And those are the films that we know about. The rest are happening, but most don't have confirmed release date, and some don't have directors or even writers. For example, we got Lanterns, with the showrunner being Chris Mundy, and also being written by Chris Mundy, Damian Lindelof, and Tom King, and is set to release sometime in the summer of 2026. Then there's The Brave and the Bold, which is being directed by Andy Muschietti. But recently, we got a confirmed writer for the film in Christina Hodson with no confirmed release date. Wonder Woman with no confirmed director, but being written by Annie Nogueira and no confirmed release date. The Blue Beetle animated series with showrunner Miguel Puaga, written by Kristen Martinez with no confirmed release date. DC Crime with showrunners Dan Pergett and Tony Yachinez with no confirmed writer or release date. Mr. Miracle with the showrunner being Tom King with no confirmed writer or release date either, which is going to be an adaptation based on his 12-issue miniseries on Mr. Miracle. The Teen Titans movie with no confirmed director, with the writer once again being Anna Nogueira with no confirmed release date. And those are the projects that we know about so far. And now here's the thing, there aren't a lot of films that actually have been canceled from what I can see. So films like The Authority, Sergeant Rock, and Paradise Lost, which I don't think is happening due to Wonder Woman, are canceled, with Swamp Thing being a maybe. And then there's the projects that we've heard nothing about, like Waller, with showrunner and writer being Christelle Henry and Jeremy Carver. And we heard very little about this show, and it doesn't have a confirmed release date. And then there's Booster Gold, which is also being written and showrun by David Jenkins with no confirmed release date either. Which again, I'm not surprised since I haven't heard about these two projects. And now that we talk about the films, let's talk about the story of Gods and Monsters. So far, this is based on everything that was stated in Creature Commando, Superman 2025, and Peacemaker Season 2. So let's start with the Lord! As stated in Superman, 3 centuries ago, the first superpower beings known as metahumans ushered in the new era of gods and monsters. As shown by this helpful mirror here in the Superman movie, there are many superheroes. Also established, Superman has been around for only 3 years now. Batman is around, as we've seen some of his villains in Peacemaker and Creature Commandos. The premier superhero team is the Justice Gang, who are funded and owned by Maxwell Lord, who owns Lord Tech. And Hal Jordan is in his 60s and is on his way to retiring and passing the mantle down to Jon Stewart. Also, based on how they use the term metahumans, I would describe it as anyone with powers, like aliens, magic, and the Amazons. Speaking of the Amazon, we actually know quite a bit about them. Like in the mural in Superman, we see the Amazon hero Exoristus, who was an Amazon from the 17th century. And in Creature Commandos, it's stated that Themyscira was hit by a tsunami, which led to the deaths of many Amazons and the exile of Circe. And then by 2024, man's world is aware of Themyscira, and there's even studies around them. While people are aware of Themyscira, it is shown there is some skepticism about the whole society of women.
It's taking us fact.
Oh, and now we're taking Themyscira's fact?
Dude, it's a real place. We know that now.
I know it's a real place, but what kind of place is it? An island of all women? Come on.
We also know that real-life cities like New York or Los Angeles do not exist in the DCU, and it's also shown there are creatures like interdimensional imps and monsters like the Kaiju in Superman exist, obviously. It's also shown to be a world full of super science, stuff like robots and cyborgs like the Metal Man, G.I. Robot, Sasha Bordeaux, who's a cyborg by the way, and the Superman robots who are alien in origin. And speaking of alien tech, first there's the Fortress of Solitude and the Green Lantern rings. There's also cloning, as we've seen with Ultraman, nanotech, as we've seen with the Engineer, and people being able to access or create pocket dimension, whether through alien tech or man-made. Another key part is the overarching story of the DCU, as according to James Gunn, the story is a complex power struggle between corporations, the government, and the metahumans. Now I'm gonna save the government for last, as they just made a huge move in Peacemaker Season 2. And so we're gonna start with the corporations. So on the corporate side, there are 4 major companies. The first being Lord Tech, owned by Maxwell Lord, who created and sponsored the Justice Gang and their operations. Stag Industry, as their company is responsible for Metamorpho, in the comics at least. Luther Corp, who create Ultraman, the Engineer, and to create their own team called Planet Watch. But due to the events of Superman, Lex is currently in jail. And in season 2 of Peacemaker, Lex does make a deal with Rick Flag Sr. and are currently working together, which I'll discuss in the government's role in this power struggle. Then there's Wayne Industry. There's the obvious of how Bruce uses Wayne Tech and his resources for his crusade as Batman, but we know very little about their role in this. And I have a couple theories as I'll discuss them in a follow-up video. Next is the metahumans. As even though they've been around for 300 years, many of the government or companies tried to control them. It wasn't until the events in Superman where Supes and later the Justice Gang and Metamorpho publicly interfered with geopolitical affairs by stopping the invasion of Baravia in Jarinpur was a huge impact and a notable shift in the metahumans' favor. And lastly, there's the government. First, there's Amanda Waller's Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad, and later the Creature Commandos. And then there's Checkmate, though formed by the 11th Street Kids, it does seem to be its own independent agency. And then there's Rick Flag Sr. and the Advanced Resource Group of the United States, aka Argus. In season 2, with him being the head of Argus, he starts actually abusing that power. First with him using his position to go after Peacemaker for the quantum unfolding chamber, since the use of pocket dimensions is now a high priority for the government because of the events of Superman. But really, it's all an excuse because he wants revenge against Peacemaker for killing his son. Then he teams up with Lex Luthor and his team to explore the pocket dimension and come up with Salvation, a planet in an alternate universe where they will round up dangerous metahumans and relocate them there, with Peacemaker as an unwilling volunteer. And that's the story so far for the DCU. So, what's next? Now, I do plan to make a follow-up video speculating on where the DCU is going to go, but there are some things that are laid out, like how the Justice Gang is going to more than likely evolve into the Justice League. I do think Salvation is going to be a massive part of the story, as rounding up a bunch of metahumans and dumping them on some random planet in another dimension is definitely going to bite them in the ass. As for where the DCU could go next, well, I do feel that they will start introducing the rest of the known Justice League, like the Flash and Aquaman, and I strongly believe they will also add the Martian Manhunter. Why Martian Manhunter? Well, I have some reasons why. 1. From watching James Gunn's superhero films, one thing I understand about him is that he loves obscure characters, and this dates back to his time in Marvel. While he initially didn't write the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, that was Nicole Perlman, he was the one who made them a household name. And in Guardians 2, he had the obscure villain Ego the Living Planet. For DC, he had the Suicide Squad made up a bunch of obscure characters like Peacemaker, Bloodsport, and my personal favorite, TKO, aka Arm Fall Off Boy. Then there's the Creature Commandos, obviously, and in Superman, we have Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, Metamorpho, and the Engineer. So there's no doubt in my mind that he will include a character like Martian Manhunter. And 2, they already laid the groundwork. What do I mean by this? Well, it's Superman. You notice how in some of the backgrounds they have this product called Chocos? Well, in the comics, Chocos are actually Martian Manhunter's favorite food, apparently. Either way, I am rooting for the DCU to succeed. And you can bet that I will return to this topic to update it. And that's the end of the video. Are you also rooting for the DCU? And what project are you looking forward to the most? Like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. And until next time, I'm Otto Johnny, and end transmission.